I am from Computer Science Department. So our group squad is going to explain about two-way ANOVA, exploring interactions and main effects. So our friends will continue this topic.
And my topic is types of two-way ANOVA. And first, identify the population and distribution and assumption. We should first identify the population and distribution. And second step, state the null and research hypothesis. We should first search the null and research hypothesis. Third step, determine the characteristics of a compression distribution. Fourth step, determine the critical values of outputs. And first we should determine the critical values. Okay. Fifth one, calculate the test statistics. And sixth one, make.
Myself Bhushan. I am here to explain one ANOVA table which is created by 5 columns and 4 rows. Source of variation, degree of freedom, sum of squares which is called as SS, and mean of squares which is called as MS, and F ratio, and here within error and total. And it is a K which is a number of samples, and N is a number of rows and number of columns. ESS square of sum of squares between samples and sum of squares within samples. Mean of squares, here we got the formula for between mean of squares between samples divided by degree of freedom, and for within error, sum of squares between sample divided by NK, which is degree of freedom.
Myself akshaymathapati, and our topic is two-way ANOVA, exploring instructions, and our team name is squad, and I am giving the introduction. And this consists of the three significant tests. Each of the main effects of A and B, and the interaction of two factors are A and B, and the F test of each of the hypothesis, and the mean square of each main effect and the interaction effect divided by this two-way ANOVA. Let us use an example we have seen before. In this study, introduce telephone calls to adults in randomly selected household to ask opinions about the next election, and there is a treatment A and the treatment B. The treatment A, introduction of the given name and identified the university and which was presented, and the given name and identified the university. And in the treatment B, copy of survey, interview offered to send a copy of final result, and the interview did not offer send a copy to the final result.
Myself Adarsh Naik. I am here to explain about testing for interaction. An interaction occurs when two IVs have an affecting combination that we don't see when looking at each IV individual. Two-way ANOVA includes the nominal IVs and scale DV. Factorial ANOVA uses one scale DV and at least two nominal IVs factor. Factor IV studies within more than one IV. So, step 1, identifying the population and distribution and assumption. Step 2, state the null and research hypothesis. Step 3, determine the characteristics of the comparison distribution. Step 4, determine critical value and cutoff. Step 5, calculate the test. Step 6, make a decision.
So I am from Computer Science Department, and here to conclude the topic of two-way ANOVA. So the conclusion goes like, if there is no significant interaction, the means of the levels of the factor A will behave like the expected values from any of the individual levels of B. So the second point, if there is any significant interaction, the hypothesis for the main effects are the same. So we'll test whether the means of the obtained of each level of the ANOVA A or B are the same or no. So however, if the module includes an interaction, this hypothesis might not be useful. So at the last point, look at the first interaction and never analyze the full sum and interact the main effects of the presence of the interaction. Thank you.